Hello, my name is Gunther today, and I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm here to read the Daily Reflections book for October 4th, 2025. It's called A Necessary Pruning. We know that the pains of drinking had to come before sobriety, and emotional turmoil before serenity. That comes from the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, page 94. That's this book. I love spending time in my garden, feeding and pruning my beautiful flowers. One day, as I was busily snipping away, a neighbor stopped by. She commented, "Oh, your plants are so beautiful, it seems such a shame to cut them back." I replied, "I know how you feel, but the excess must be removed so they can grow stronger and healthier." Later, I thought that perhaps my plants feel pain, but God and I know it's part of the plan, and I've seen the results. I was quickly reminded of my precious AA program and how we all grow through pain. I asked God to prune me when it's time so I can grow. Period. At the end of the reading. So, yesterday, October 3rd, 2025, when I was doing this, I made this reading and they mentioned pain prominently here. Someone who knew what they were talking about once remarked that pain was the touchstone of all spiritual progress. How heartily we AAs can agree with him. 12 Steps, that's from the same book, almost the same page, pages 93 through 94. And I don't know how well I explained it. I didn't explain it fully, I know that much, about how step 10, because it's the 10th month, and we're talking, this book is trying, if I will let it, to talk about 10th step things. And the 10th step says, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. So yesterday, I ran out of time before I could explain spiritual progress, a daily inventory. Did I say pain? And growth. So as a blanket statement, simply put, please don't jump all over my case about this. It takes pain to grow. Just think of that as a basic principle of growth. It's going to take pain, or perhaps discomfort might be more pleasing to hear. It's going to take, the actual growth may not be pleasurable, but the results certainly are. Once you grow to... acceptance has a lot to do with all this stuff too, I think. That yesterday I got started into how does the 10th step, how might you find a use for spiritual progress or spiritual growth or anything spiritual in the 10th step that said I'm supposed to look at myself today and then promptly admit when I'm wrong. Well, one thing, you could maybe use your spirit, your higher power, your spiritual guide, whatever you want to call that, the power greater than yourself, or the power greater than your addiction, a moral compass, some kind of guide that it's like, okay, these things are generally accepted in society without a lot of flack and blowback, I guess is a word they've been using recently. And then the other thing about the spiritual component of your personality, what's a use for that? The 10th step, looking at your behavior and then promptly admitting when you're wrong, is it's painful to admit you're wrong. I'm going to wager that. It has been in my experience. It kept me from it even thinking I was capable of being wrong. Just the fear of the pain that would come, which was kind of in the maybe this category. If I let everybody know how twisted and broken and weak I am, they're going to lose a lot of respect for me, and I won't be able to lead properly any longer, and things of that nature. So there's no way I can be wrong. This is the plan, and we're sticking with it, right or wrong. That is, I don't want to get all tangled up in that, because I will. Because that is kind of a good quality in a leader. Is that no matter how bad the plan is, you pick one plan and you go for it. And the good thing about that is that now that you're moving and working, the flaws will readily appear, and then you can fix your plan en route as you're working the plan. You'll find it's not working well in this area. You can make a correction. It may not be, that's kind of an expedient kind of thing. There may not be time to sit around and come up with a better plan. There's no way you're going to ever come up with the perfect plan. You can try and get pretty close. That's for another time. Okay. The spiritual component of the 10th step, admitting you're wrong and promptly admitting it. Well, let me back up a little. I better just read it right from the book. Then I'm sure not to follow it up too much. The 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Step 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Fear comes hand in hand with that, or it used to with me. It still does a bit, but here's the key, is that the spiritual component of my life, I can cast my fear over onto that portion of my personality and not worry about the fear. That's never it. Fear is an illusion. Fear, those 4 letters, it's an acronym, some people say, for false expectations appearing real. There's at least 2 other ones. I subscribe to a lot of things like that in my own life because they're simple ways to remember things. It's what is that? A mnemonic, I think you'd call it, where it's a trick on your brain to remember things. Anyhow, let's read this thing again. I've been finding this useful so far, is to read this thing, talk a little bit about it, then read the thing again and see if I can zero in more on a point. So October 4th, it says, a necessary pruning. And remember yesterday, Serenity After the Storm, my evolution in the AA program has taught me that I must experience the inner change, however painful, that eventually guides me from selfishness to selflessness. If I am to have serenity, I must step my way past emotional turmoil and its subsequent hangover and be grateful for continuing spiritual progress or growth. Let's stick that in there. Unnecessary pruning. We know that the pains of drinking had to come before sobriety, because just think if you would have never killed somebody in a car while you were driving, wrapped your car around a school bus or something, accidentally shot somebody with a gun. There's all kinds of horrible things that happen when drunks or doing stuff, man. And usually, well, anyhow, I don't want to get too far into that. If you hadn't had those kind of pains of drinking, I had a lot of pain, physical pain while I was drinking, but I carried on because, well, because I'm an alcoholic. And it was stupid because I caused a lot of damage to myself physically. That's still with me anyhow. So we know that the pains of drinking had to come before sobriety. And that's kind of what happens to a reasonable person if, well, just, that would be the dream outcome. It's like you realize you're doing something stupid, so you stop doing it. That's the sobriety portion of the drinking thing. Okay. We know that the pains of drinking had to come before sobriety and emotional turmoil before serenity. You had to notice your emotions were getting way out of control before you were praying for serenity, say, and trying to figure out a way to achieve that. So that's out of the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book, pages 93 through 94. Now, if I have time, we got 11 minutes in the can here. I love spending time in my garden, feeding and pruning my beautiful flowers. One day as I was busily snipping away, a neighbor stopped by. She commented, "Oh, your plants are so beautiful. It seems such a shame to cut them back." I replied, "I know how you feel, but the excess must be removed so they can grow stronger and healthier." Later I thought that perhaps my plants feel pain, but God and I know it's part of the plan, and I've seen the results. I was quickly reminded of my precious AA program and how we all grow through pain. I ask God to prune me when it's time so I can grow. If you're calling God maybe your spiritual advisor, and you're praying to that God, and if you remember what I said about the 11th step, let's read the 11th step quickly. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Excuse me. So you're looking for something, serenity. You do it through prayer and meditation according to the 11th step. Or that's one way of doing it. You're seeking, you're looking, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, comma. So, one of these mnemonics is, for me, prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening back for the reply from God. So I pray. It can be out loud. I used to yell at God a lot when I was drinking. And lots of negativity towards God in that way. And then I'd get drunk, or I'd continue being drunk. And I'd never stop and wait for the reply. The pain of the drinking, say. And, it eventually worked out that people call it a moment of clarity, or you reach your bottom, or at least the bottom you're willing to go to at that point, because there could be a relapse and you'll go a lot deeper. That's a horrible thing to happen, but it might be this pain that happens before the sobriety. The pain of the drinking before the sobriety found in recovery, I guess. So where did I leave off here? Number 4 here. I love spending time in the thing. Oh, your plants are so beautiful. It seems such a shame to cut the... Yes, but that is needed for the growth, right? I replied, I know how you feel, but excess must be removed so they can grow stronger and healthier. Later I thought that perhaps my plants feel pain, but God and I know it's part of the plan. And I've seen the results. I was quickly reminded of my precious AA program and how we all grow through pain. I ask God to prune me when it's time so I can grow. So having asked God to prune you, you might experience pain. But that's going to lead to growth if you stick with it and not reach for the painkiller too soon, or for something that isn't going to get fixed with a painkiller because maybe it's a spiritual deficiency in your life. Because the big book, now I'll get all preachy if the big book mentions that alcoholics have this spiritual malady, a sickness in your spirit part, and I agree. And it says somewhere in the big book, someday we'll all know these things intuitively, because that's part of the promises found on pages 83 and 84 of the big book, that intuitively we'll know how to handle things that used to baffle us, and we'll suddenly realize God is doing for us the things that we couldn't do for ourselves. And if that wording, I thought of this the other day, if that wording is correct, what I just said, doing for us what we could not do for ourselves, not by ourselves. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we're halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity. It's kind of what we're looking for here. And we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That's what I'm trying to do here. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. That's like, look at me, I'm out of bed before noon and I'm doing something constructive. That's not useless. Not pitiful. Those things have disappeared. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. And here's this part that I was mentioning. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves, period. Are these extravagant promises? Question mark. I'm going to leave it at that. We think not. They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Where are we at? 18 minutes. Okay, so how does the 10th step, spiritual guidance, power, advisor, pain and growth, fit today's reading? If you remember back these 18 minutes ago where I said, let's just consider that pain is going to come before growth. And then I just more recently said, about 4 minutes ago maybe, don't reach for the painkiller too soon, because that pain is going to lead to growth. And then some of the more gooder things about growth is that the things you couldn't do earlier, now you can. So the pain that used to cause you to drink in the past, that might leave you, because you've grown to accept. I kind of left that out. I mentioned earlier today, acceptance has a lot to do with this. And I think in acceptance, the way I looked at it used to, is like, I'm me and I'm myself and I'm all one component, and this is all there is. There's no spirit world. There's no outside help. Self-sufficient. If anyone's going to fix this, it's going to be me. It is my problem after all, whatever situation. Let's just stick with that. So accepting that you're an alcoholic, and it means that a lot of things you don't want to believe but are true. It's very, very difficult to accept that. It's painful to accept that. To find out there's some flaw, at least for myself. It's like, this is something I can't fix. I guess the best I can do is to get it into remission or make it manageable. The first step, powerless over alcohol or lots of other things. And my life is unmanageable if I keep chasing after those things. I'm getting a bit off the point, which is unfortunate. So if you acceptance, if you accept it within your own strength, it's like, I'm never going to be able to do this. This is where the spiritual part comes in. You accept things and you say, you know what, God, Allah, Baba, Shara, whatever your name for a spiritual power is, you handle this one, please. This is the prayer and the meditation. You wait, maybe in pain, for the reply, and you'll get one if you wait long enough. I don't know how long that might be. It's kind of more how sincerely you're waiting, how more focused you are to get the reception clear. Because God will tell you a lot of things, and then you'll find out later it wasn't God. It was you. It was your ego. It was a demon or something. It was alcohol talking to you, because that's a powerful monkey right there, alcohol. Anyhow, cunning, powerful, baffling, and patient. Okay, thanks for coming here today, and I'll get back with you later. Goodbye.